welcome back welcome back to my another new video. I hope you all are doing great. So in this video I will be telling about the scope of the electronics and communication graduates. The electronics and communication graduates, they study a wide variety of subjects ranging from the number systems, analog circuits, digital communication, signal processing control systems, digital electronics, VLSI, embedded systems. So these are the various subjects that an ECA graduate studies on. But you know, all these different subjects do have different scope. So we do have different positions for different job roles if you want to pursue the ECE or core related roles. So the job profiles include VLSI Design Engineer, Embedded Systems Engineer, Network Planning Engineer, Hardware Testing Engineer. So these are the profiles that are often employed or offered by the companies like top companies like Intel, Qualcomm, Cisco, Samsung, where there is a high demand for semiconductor and automation expertise. So the core electronics and hardware roles which are there are which include VLSI Design Engineer. So VLSI Design Engineer is the one who creates and tests the integrated circuits. We saw many integrated circuits which consists of the basic logical gates like AND gate, OR gate. So creating those circuits and testing those circuits, and the chips as well. There are microchips. So testing those chips. So this all comes under the VLSI Design Engineer. There is also another role here in parallel to that, which is Design Verification Engineer. I think that is related to verifying the design. If there is a design which consists of basic logical gates, so you are tend to verify that particular design whether it is working as expected with reference to the say the truth table, or there is a boolean expression. So whether the output is coming as per the expectation or not. So that is something which comes for the design verification engineer as well. Then we have the embedded systems engineer role. So this is a role which is related to embedded systems. So specifically, you might have learned the subject called embedded systems. So there you might also have learned about the microcontrollers like 8051 or the microprocessors 8085 or 8086. So what is the hardware configuration for that? How do you configure the microcontroller? What are the applications of the microcontroller? What are the different things that are there for the microcontroller, like the input output device? There is an input output device and there is RAM and all. So these ROM, these all things that comes with the embedded systems, that comes with the microcontroller. So you might have studied that in your graduation. So the same thing, the application wise, you might develop an embedded system which can be coming in play with the real life application, like a fully automated car or a fully automated AC or something. So that is the role of an embedded systems engineer. So it is a very interesting profile. So then comes the hardware design engineer. So here it is basically related to electronic circuits, electronic systems, and the printed circuit boards, PCBs. So there are electronic circuits. You might be expected to design that electronic circuit and test that particular electronic circuit. So the electronic circuit is nothing but it might be the combination of resistors, okay, the combination of capacitors. You might test that particular circuit which has the combination of resistors, capacitors, etc. So there is also printed circuit board, like you have in many electronic devices, be it mobile phone or something. So there is a printed circuit board. So that design you might have to work in the designing of that particular hardware. So that is this profile. Then comes control and automation engineer. Here I think there are automated systems or the control systems that are there for robotics. So robots are, you know, the robots are applied everywhere, in the field of medicine, in the field of, you know, manufacturing. So in the field of manufacturing, there are the those machines where, you know, you might have seen in the logistics or in the malls or in the marts, where the machines lift up the heavy items. If particular item is to be kept on a top shelf, so that robot will lift that item from bottom to up. So that is an example of the robot. Then there is another example in the medicine, wherein a robot assists the doctor, by bringing in some specific instruments. So these are the examples of control and automation engineer. So you might, you know, be designing that automated systems that are required, like that robot in the mall that you see that lifts the item from bottom to up. You might work in that kind of area. So then comes the hardware testing and validation engineer. So this profile, basically a person validates the PCB here, the printed circuit board, its working, proper functionality, and the chip performance, like whether the chip, what is the amount of power that particular chip is consuming, what is the amount of current, voltage. These all, you know, things, performance wise, is tested in the hardware testing and validation engineer. So proper amount of power is consumed, very less power is consumed, and what is the voltage that is supplied. All these are tested and validated. So there are some other roles as well, which is under the telecommunication and networking. So there is network engineer, RF telecommunication engineer, and broadcast engineer. So you might see the details here, you know, what is expected out of these roles. Then there is software related roles like IoT engineer, IoT developer, AI ML engineer, software system analysis. So this is software related. Whereas in the public sector, you have in store the ISRO, DRDO scientist, where you might work in space and defense research. You might work in technologies. You might work in an area where, you know, there is a testing going on for a jet or a rocket, which is expected to, you know, launch from our earth to the moon or something. So you might work in that area. And in defense, it is usually the machines like army, or, you know, the machines that are used in war. So that those kind of work you will be doing in the ISRO or DRDO. In the technical officer or assistant professor, I think it is related to the professor related roles, mostly related to academics, where you might do a degree and you might specialize in a particular degree like VLSI or embedded systems. Okay, you might become a professor. You can teach students in your college, or you manage the technical operations. If you know the technical specimen very well, you might manage, the technical operations, how that particular diode works, how the resistors work, how the MOSFET works, how the BJT works, how the CMOS works. So you know the functionality of all these. So you might be a technical officer in a particular laboratory or something. Then there is a PSU engineer. There are positions for this in BHEL, NTPC, that is National Thermal Power Corporation, and others. So this is usually, this gate is opened usually via the gate examination. So these are the different areas that you have, that is in store for the electronic and hardware graduates.